What ignites the flames of revolution? Throughout history, revolutions have emerged as profound cries for change, erupting when the pressure of injustice, inequality, or oppression becomes unbearable. These are not mere disturbances but pivotal moments that redefine the boundaries of possibility. At the heart of every revolution lies the collective spirit of a people, driven to challenge the status quo and demand a reformation of their social, political, and economic structures. This transformative zeal can often lead to periods of intense conflict and upheaval, yet it is this very struggle that forges new paths and reshapes nations. From the cobblestone streets of Paris to the fields of Virginia, the echoes of resistance and the clamor for liberty have reverberated through time, leaving indelible marks on the human saga. These movements have not only redefined the landscapes of their own times, but have also set precedents for future generations. Now, let us journey back to where it all began, with the revolutions that changed the course of human history. Imagine a world where America remained under British rule. The very thought stirs the imagination, doesn't it? But in the mid-18th century, the American colonists grew increasingly agitated under British dominance, primarily provoked by stringent economic policies and a glaring lack of representation in the parliament that governed them from across the ocean. This unrest first boiled over during events like the Boston Tea Party in 1773, a defiant act against the Tea Act imposed by Britain. This event was not just about tea, it was a bold statement against taxation without representation, and a stepping stone towards greater upheavals. The culmination of these tensions was the drafting of the Declaration of Independence in 1776. This document was revolutionary, not just for its immediate effect, but for its profound global impact. It signaled that colonies could throw off an oppressive rule and spurred movements around the world, reshaping colonial policies and inspiring a wave of democratic ideals. The success of the American colonists set a precedent. Oppressive rule could be challenged and overthrown. From the opulence of Versailles to the guillotine's shadow, how did France radically redefine itself? The French Revolution, beginning in 1789, was a decade of profound political and social upheaval. It was spurred by a financial crisis that had left the kingdom on the brink of bankruptcy, coupled with widespread social inequality and the burgeoning influence of Enlightenment ideas. The seeds of discontent were sown as the common people, or the Third Estate, groaned under the heavy yoke of taxes and poverty, while the nobility and clergy lived lives of lavish luxury. Enlightenment thinkers like Voltaire and Rousseau challenged the status quo, advocating for liberty, equality, and fraternity. These ideas quickly took root among the masses, setting the stage for revolution. King Louis XVI, ill-equipped to manage the growing crisis, convened the Estates General for the first time in nearly 175 years, a desperate attempt to salvage France's finances. However, this move backfired as it only fueled the revolutionary fervor. The storming of the Bastille on July 14, 1789, not only marked a dramatic escalation of the revolution, but also became its enduring symbol. As the revolution deepened, figures like Maximilien Robespierre rose to prominence, steering the revolutionary government through the most radical phase, known as the Reign of Terror. During this dark period, thousands were executed under the merciless blade of the guillotine, as suspicions and paranoia ran rampant. The French Revolution gave the world a new vocabulary for freedom and justice, albeit at a great human cost. 1917, the year that shook the world and ushered in an era of communist rule. In the early 20th century, Russia was a powder keg waiting to explode. The nation was ruled by Tsar Nicholas II, whose leadership was marked by indecision and a notorious disconnect from the needs of his people. This period was also marred by immense suffering caused by World War I, where Russian casualties were enormous and the home front was in turmoil. The Russian populace, already exhausted by economic disparity and continuous war, reached a breaking point. In February of 1917, the situation escalated into the February Revolution. This uprising was largely driven by widespread dissatisfaction with the Tsar's government, culminating in Nicholas's abdication. The provisional government that took over was unable to address the pressing issues of war and internal strife. As the year progressed, the situation ripe for change, Vladimir Lenin and his Bolshevik party promised peace, land, and bread. These simple yet powerful promises resonated deeply with the war-weary and impoverished Russian masses. In October, leveraging the growing discontent, the Bolsheviks staged a coup known as the October Revolution. They seized control, and Lenin emerged as the leader of the new Soviet Russia. The Bolsheviks' rise to power marked the beginning of a new era. They implemented radical changes, redistributing land and pulling Russia out of the war. However, this was just the beginning of further conflicts and transformations under communist rule. The Russian Revolution not only changed the nation, it sent shockwaves across the globe, influencing international politics for the century to come. How did a peasant-based party overthrow an empire and establish a communist giant? The tale of the Chinese Communist Revolution is one of stark contrast and relentless struggle, where the underdog Communist Party, led by Mao Zedong, challenged the might of the Kuomintang. Amidst the chaos of the Japanese invasion and subsequent civil war, China was a nation on the brink. The Communist Party, initially weaker and less equipped, adopted guerrilla warfare tactics. These strategies capitalized on the rugged terrain and the support of the rural population. One of the most pivotal episodes was the Long March, a daring retreat by the communists which, despite heavy losses, became a symbol of resilience and strategic acumen. As the tides of war shifted, so did the balance of power. By 1949, after years of brutal conflict and strategic maneuvering, Mao Zedong stood at Tiananmen Square, proclaiming the birth of the People's Republic of China. The Chinese Revolution transformed the largest population in the world into a communist state with a central role in global affairs. Revolutions are not just about the battles fought, they are about the echoes they leave behind. From the distant musket volleys of the American Revolution to the charged debates of the French salons, each major revolution has reshaped the world in its own image. The American Revolution lit the torch of independence and democracy, inspiring nations worldwide. It was more than a fight against colonial rule. It was the blueprint for a new way of governance, emphasizing liberty and the pursuit of happiness. Across the Atlantic, the French Revolution fundamentally altered the social fabric. It dismantled age-old hierarchies, placing power ostensibly in the hands of the people. Its ripples were felt far and wide as it exported ideals of fraternity and equality, influencing other nations to re-examine their own systems. Moving into the 20th century, the Russian Revolution introduced a new player on the global stage, the Soviet Union. This upheaval not only changed the political landscape but also had profound impacts on global economic theories and practices, challenging the capitalist status quo with communist ideals. Further east, the Chinese Communist Revolution transformed the world's most populous nation. It not only reshaped China's social structure and economy, but also redefined its role on the world stage, paving the way for a new era of geopolitical dynamics. These revolutions, each unique in their character and consequences, challenged imperial powers and sparked a global rethinking of rights and freedoms. They have influenced countless movements and continue to inspire those who seek change. While the fires of these revolutions have long since died down, the sparks they left continue to ignite change around the world. As we've seen, revolutions are powerful forces that reshape societies. From the battlefields of the American Revolution to the upheavals in France, Russia, and China, each movement we've explored marked a pivotal turn in the world's history. These revolutions were not just about the overthrow of old regimes, but about the people's quest for justice, liberty, and a better life. The American Revolution set forth ideas of democracy and freedom that echoed around the globe. Meanwhile, the French Revolution redefined notions of equality and fraternity. Across the world in Russia, the Bolsheviks reshaped an empire into a communist state, influencing countless other nations. And in China, the Communist Revolution transformed a feudal society into a major global power. These historical upheavals teach us about the strength of human will and the relentless struggle for rights and recognition. the changes they sparked still resonate in our political, social, and economic landscapes today. The legacy of these revolutions teaches us that while the path to change is often tumultuous, the pursuit of a better society is a timeless endeavor.